Before we begin, please remember that the information in this video is for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical or psychological advice. We are not doctors or licensed mental health professionals. If you are struggling with a medical condition, including ADHD, anxiety, or depression, please consult a qualified healthcare provider. This presentation is designed to share strategies and insights for general focus improvement in a professional setting. It's 9:05 a.m. You sit down at your desk, coffee in hand, ready to finally tackle that big, important project. You've got a clear plan. Today is the day you make real progress. You open the file. You read the first sentence. And then ding, a Slack notification pops up. It's a gift from a coworker. You smile, add a reaction emoji, and turn back to your project. Okay, where were you? You reread the sentence. A new email appears in the corner of your screen. The subject line has the word urgent in all caps. Your heart rate ticks up just a little. You open it. It's a company-wide announcement about a new policy that doesn't affect you. You close the email. Now, what was that project again? Colleague taps you on the shoulder. Hey, got a quick question. The question is not quick. 20 minutes later, you're back at your desk, staring at the same sentence you were looking at an hour ago, feeling a growing sense of frustration and defeat. If that scenario feels painfully familiar, you are not alone. And I am here to tell you something that might be the most important thing you hear all week. Your struggle with focus is not a personal failing. It is not a character flaw. It is not a lack of willpower or discipline. It is a completely normal, rational response to a fundamentally broken work environment. The modern American workplace, for the vast majority of us, has been meticulously designed to destroy concentration. You haven't been failing at the game. You've been set up to lose from the start. Don't just take my word for it. Let's look at the data. Researchers at the University of California, Irvine, decided to put a number on that feeling of constant whiplash. They found that after a single minor interruption, just one notification, one quick question, it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to return to the same level of deep concentration you had before. Let that sink in. 23 minutes. Let's do some brutal math. If you get interrupted just 4 times in a morning, a laughably low estimate for most of us, you have lost over 90 minutes of productive time. Not to the distractions themselves, but to the recovery from those distractions. That's nearly 2 hours of your most valuable morning energy vaporized into thin air every single day. Multiply that across a week, a month, a year. We are talking about hundreds, even thousands of hours of lost potential. We're talking about the difference between getting that promotion and just treading water. The difference between finishing your day feeling accomplished and energized versus feeling exhausted and defeated. The problem is, we are living and working inside a machine I call the distraction factory. It's an entire ecosystem built on a series of dangerous lies that we've been conditioned to accept as truth. The first lie is that being busy is the same as being productive, that a flurry of activity, of answered emails and instant messages, is a sign of value. The second lie is that constant connectivity equals contribution. We've been sold on the idea that to be a good team player, you must be available to anyone at any time for any reason. Your open plan office, which was pitched as a catalyst for collaboration, is in reality an arena for drive-by interruptions and sensory overload. Your company's instant messaging platform, sold as a tool for agile efficiency, has become a digital leash, yanking you away from meaningful work to serve the whims of anyone who can type your name. This isn't just an abstract problem about productivity. This is about your career, your income, and your mental health. This constant state of fractured attention is the primary source of the burnout epidemic sweeping across corporate America. It's the reason you feel that low-grade anxiety humming beneath the surface all day, that nagging feeling of being perpetually behind, of running a race you can never win. You are not imagining it. You are a knowledge athlete being forced to compete in an arena with strobe lights, blaring alarms, and a crowd that's allowed to tackle you at any moment. But what if you could change the rules of the game? What if you could build a mental fortress, a sanctuary for deep thought, right in the middle of that chaos? What if you could become one of the few people in your organization capable of producing elite-level work, consistently and without burning out? That is precisely what this video series is designed to help you do. This is not another list of flimsy life hacks like turn off your phone or use the Pomodoro technique. This is a comprehensive masterclass in the science and strategy of professional focus. We are going to give you a blueprint to systematically rewire your brain, redesign your environment, and reclaim your single most valuable professional asset, your undivided attention. To begin this journey, you must make one fundamental shift in your thinking. You have to stop treating your attention as an infinite, renewable resource. It is not. Your capacity for deep, focused attention is a currency. In the 21st century knowledge economy, it is the most valuable currency you possess. Every single morning, you wake up with a finite amount of it in your cognitive bank account. And from the moment you roll over and check your phone, every app, every notification, every advertisement, every colleague, and every meeting is trying to make a withdrawal. The problem is, for years you've been letting them. You've been letting penny-ante requests, trivial emails, and pointless meetings bankrupt your multi-million-dollar cognitive account, leaving you with nothing left for the projects that will actually move the needle in your life and career. Think of it this way. Would you allow a random stranger on the street to walk up to you and take a $50 bill out of your wallet? Of course not. The idea is absurd. Yet, we allow a meaningless social media notification to steal 25 minutes of our peak mental energy without a second thought. That 25 minutes is infinitely more valuable than $50. You can always earn more money. You can never get back that peak creative time. The very first step to becoming a master of focus is to become a ruthless, unapologetic accountant of your own attention. You must learn to identify the high-return investments for your focus, the deep work, the strategic thinking, the creative problem-solving, and mercilessly cut off the low-value withdrawals that are draining you dry. To do this, we're going to wage a war on two fronts, the inner game and the outer game. The inner game is all about your mind. We're going to explore the neuroscience of flow states, giving you the tools to build the mental muscles for sustained concentration. We'll teach you how to defeat internal distractions like procrastination, anxiety, and the urge to multitask. The outer game is all about your environment. We will give you tactical strategies to design your physical and digital workspaces for maximum focus. You'll learn how to master your tools, your email, your calendar, your communication apps, so that they serve you, not the other way around. Most importantly, you will learn how to manage the expectations of your boss and your colleagues to create large, sacred, uninterrupted blocks of time for the work that truly matters. You will learn the deep work philosophy pioneered by Georgetown professor Cal Newport. You'll master the time blocking and zero-based calendaring techniques used by elite performers like Bill Gates and Elon Musk. You'll understand powerful psychological principles like the Zeigarnik effect and learn how to use it to your advantage instead of letting it sabotage your focus. But before we can build this new fortress of focus, we have to clear the land. And that means we need to identify and demolish the single biggest lie about productivity that almost every American professional has been taught to believe. A foundational myth that is likely poisoning your best efforts before you even begin. And confronting that lie is exactly where we are headed next. So what is this lie? It's a simple, seductive, and devastatingly effective myth that has become the unofficial religion of the American workplace. It's the idea that the busiest person is the most productive person. It's the glorification of multitasking. We wear our ability to juggle a dozen things at once as a badge of honor. We see the executive firing off emails during a meeting and think, that's a leader. We see the colleague with 27 browser tabs open, Slack notifications firing like a machine gun, and a half-eaten sandwich at their desk, and we think, now that's a dedicated employee. We have been taught to equate a flurry of activity with the creation of value. And that is the single most destructive lie holding back your mental focus. Because your brain cannot multitask. It's a biological impossibility. What you think of as multitasking is actually something far more chaotic and far less efficient. It's called task switching. And every single time you do it, you pay a steep, invisible tax. Let's meet someone you probably know. We'll call him David. David is a marketing manager at a mid-sized tech company. He's smart, ambitious, and by all accounts a hard worker. His day starts at 8:30 a.m. He opens his laptop and the assault begins. An inbox with 43 unread emails. A Slack channel with a dozen red notification badges. A calendar reminder for his 9 a.m. stand-up meeting. So what does he do? He tries to do it all. He starts writing a reply to an urgent email from his boss. 3 sentences in, a Slack message from a junior team member pops up. It's a quick question. Just a second, he thinks. He clicks over to Slack, answers the question. As he's typing, another email notification flashes at the bottom of his screen. It's a client. He clicks on that. It's a complaint. His heart rate ticks up. He starts drafting a response to the client, but then remembers his boss's email is still sitting there, unfinished. He clicks back to his email draft. What was he saying? He has to reread his first 3 sentences to remember his train of thought. By the time he gets back into the flow, his 9 a.m. calendar reminder pops up, taking over his screen. It's time for the meeting. He joins the Zoom call, but he's not really there. He's listening with one ear, while trying to finish that email to his boss on his other monitor. Then he's checking the client complaint again. He's half present in 3 different realities, and fully present in none of them. The meeting ends. He has no idea what his key takeaway was supposed to be. The email to his boss is finally sent, but it's rushed and not as clear as it could have been. The client is still waiting. It's 9:17 a.m. David has been working for 47 minutes. He has been incredibly busy. He feels exhausted, and he has accomplished absolutely nothing of value. David is not lazy or incompetent. He is a victim of the multitasking myth. He is a victim of paying the cognitive switching penalty over and over and over again. Think of your conscious mind, your focus, like a spotlight. When you direct that spotlight at a single task, it is bright, intense, and powerful. You see details. You make connections. You produce high-quality work, and you do it quickly. But when you try to multitask, you're not adding more spotlights. You are frantically swinging that one spotlight back and forth between different targets. Each time you swing it, from email to Slack to a report to a conversation, there is a cost. There's the time it takes to swing the light. There's the time it takes for your eyes to readjust to the new target. And most importantly, there's the loss of momentum and understanding from the target you just left. Neuroscientists call this context switching. When you're focused on one task, your brain loads up all the relevant information, the rules, the goals, the short-term memories. This is the context. When you switch to a new task, your brain has to dump that entire context and load a completely new one. This isn't free. It costs time, and more critically, it costs metabolic energy. It burns through your brain's limited supply of glucose. It literally makes you tired. This isn't some abstract theory. It's a neurological reality. Gloria Mark, a professor at the University of California, Irvine, has studied this for decades. Her research found that after a single interruption, a single task switch, it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to get back to the level of focus you had before. Let that sink in. A 30-second interruption to check a Slack message can cost you over 20 minutes of your most valuable asset, your focused attention. If you get interrupted just 3 times in an hour, your entire hour is gone. You're spending all your time just trying to get back to where you were. You are living in a state of perpetual cognitive rebooting. The damage goes even deeper. A study from the University of London found that participants who multitasked during cognitive tasks experienced a drop in their IQ scores similar to what you'd expect from someone who had stayed up all night. For men, the IQ drop was around 15 points, essentially lowering their score to that of an average 8-year-old. So, when you're sitting in that meeting trying to listen while simultaneously answering an email, you are not operating as a sharp, intelligent professional. You are operating with the cognitive capacity of a 3rd grader. We have built our entire modern American work culture on a practice that makes us demonstrably less intelligent, less effective, and more exhausted. We're like drivers who believe that rapidly swerving between 3 different lanes will get us to our destination faster than just picking one and driving straight. It's a frantic illusion of speed that, in reality, just burns more fuel, increases the risk of a crash, and ultimately slows us down. So the first, most critical step to improving your mental focus is not about a new app, or a new productivity hack, or a new way to organize your to-do list. It is a fundamental mindset shift. It is the conscious, deliberate, and sometimes difficult rejection of the multitasking myth. It's about understanding that doing one thing at a time is not a sign of weakness or slowness. It is the signature of a true professional. It is the only way to produce work that is deep, meaningful, and valuable. It's the difference between being busy and being productive. The question then is how? How do we escape this hamster wheel when our jobs, our bosses, and our tools are all designed to keep us spinning? How do you build a fortress around your attention in a world that is engineered to shatter it? The answer lies in moving from a state of frantic, shallow busyness to one of profound, focused engagement. It requires replacing the chaos of task switching with the power of a state that psychologists have a very specific name for. A state where you are so absorbed in an activity that the rest of the world seems to melt away. A state where your productivity skyrockets, and your work feels almost effortless. This is the antidote to the poison of multitasking. And understanding how to architect your day to achieve this state is the single most important skill you can learn. It's the secret weapon of the world's most focused and successful people, And it's what we're going to break down next. So let's talk architecture. Not of buildings, but of your time. The fundamental principle is this: your day and your brain can be divided into two distinct modes of work. We'll call them deep work and shallow work. Shallow work is all the stuff that keeps the lights on. It's answering emails, responding to Slack messages, attending status update meetings, filling out expense reports. It's logistical, it's often repetitive, and critically, it can be done while you're distracted. It doesn't create significant new value. It just maintains the status quo. The modern American workplace is an engine designed to generate an endless supply of shallow work. It's the constant hum of busyness that makes us feel productive, even when we're just treading water. Deep work is the opposite. It's the cognitively demanding stuff. It's the focused, uninterrupted concentration that pushes your skills to their limit and creates massive new value. This is writing the code for a new feature, crafting a complex marketing strategy, analyzing a dense financial model, or preparing a persuasive presentation for a major client. This is the work you were actually hired to do. It's the work that gets you promoted. And it's the work that is becoming terrifyingly rare. Why? Because every time you switch from a deep task to a shallow one, say you're writing a critical report and you quickly check an email notification, you don't just lose the 30 seconds it takes to read the email. You trigger something in your brain called attention residue. For minutes afterwards, sometimes up to 15 or 20 minutes, a part of your brain is still thinking about that email. A cognitive fog lingers, preventing you from getting back to that peak level of concentration you had before. Think of your focus like a deep pool of clear water. Every notification, every quick question from a coworker, every glance at your phone is a pebble tossed into that pool. The ripples spread, distorting the surface, and it takes time for the water to become still again. The modern workday is a constant hailstorm of pebbles, and most of us never get to experience that perfectly still, clear water. We spend our entire day in a state of fractured attention, and we wonder why we feel so exhausted and unproductive. So how do we fix this? We become architects of our own focus. We don't let our day happen to us. We design it with intention. The most powerful tool for this is a technique called time blocking. It sounds simple, almost insultingly so, but its impact is profound. Time blocking is the practice of scheduling every minute of your workday in advance. Instead of working from a chaotic to-do list, you work from a calendar. You're not just listing what you need to do. You're deciding when and for how long you're going to do it. Let's walk through how to build your first time block day. Step 1 is the brain dump. Take a piece of paper or a blank document and write down every single thing you need to do, big or small. Get it all out of your head. The quarterly report, the email to HR, the follow-up with the sales team, brainstorming for the new project, everything. Step 2 is to triage. Go through that list and label each item. D for deep, S for shallow. Be ruthless. Is this task cognitively demanding? Does it require your full uninterrupted attention to do well? That's deep. Can you do it while listening to a podcast or with half your brain? That's shallow. Now for the magic. Step 3. Open your calendar for tomorrow. Look at the blank canvas of your day. The first thing you're going to schedule is your deep work. This is the most important decision you will make. You need to identify your personal peak cognitive window. For most people, this is a 2 to 3 hour block in the morning, maybe from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., when your willpower is high and your mind is fresh. For others, it might be late in the afternoon. Find your golden hours and protect them like a fortress. You're going to take your most important deep work task and block out a significant chunk of time for it. Not just work on report. Be specific. 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Draft sections 1 and 2 of Q3 performance review. This specificity matters. It eliminates ambiguity and the friction of deciding what to do next. After you've scheduled your 1 or 2 deep work blocks, you start filling in the rest of your day with the shallow stuff. But you do it in batches. Instead of checking email every 5 minutes, you schedule 2 or 3 specific blocks for it. For example, 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Process email inbox. And 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Final email sweep and plan tomorrow. You do the same for Slack or Teams messages. You're batching these shallow tasks together, containing the chaos into predefined windows. This prevents the pebbles from being thrown into your pool all day long. You're building a dam. You even schedule lunch. You schedule breaks. You might even schedule a 30-minute block called contingency time to handle the inevitable unexpected things that pop up. By the end, your entire day, from start to finish, should be a mosaic of colored blocks on your calendar. Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds rigid, unrealistic. My boss would never go for this. My job is too reactive. What happens when a coworker walks over to my desk? This is the most critical part, defending your blocks. This is where the architecture becomes reality. When you are in a scheduled deep work block, you are unavailable. You turn off your email and Slack notifications. You put your phone in a drawer in another room. If you work in an open office, you put on noise-canceling headphones. This is the universal signal for, I am in focus mode, do not disturb. If someone messages you, they get an automated reply. Thanks for your message. I'm in a focus block until 11 a.m. and will respond then. If a coworker physically approaches you, you learn the most powerful phrase in the modern workplace. I'm in the middle of something that requires deep focus right now. Can I find you at 11:30? Notice you're not saying no. You're saying not now. You are respecting their need while honoring your own commitment. Feels awkward at first, but people adapt very quickly. They begin to respect your time because you are demonstrating that you respect your own time. And what about the reactive jobs? The people in customer service, or managers who need to be available for their team. The principle is the same, but the blocks are smaller. Maybe you can only schedule one 60-minute deep block in the morning. Start there. That's still 60 minutes of pure, uninterrupted focus you weren't getting before. Maybe you schedule office hours, where your team knows you are available, and outside of those blocks, you are focused on your own strategic work. The system is adaptable. The goal isn't to follow it perfectly from day one. It's to shift your default from always available and distracted to intentionally focused. This isn't about becoming a productivity robot. It's about reclaiming control. It's about creating space for the work that truly matters, the work that brings satisfaction and advances your career. By building a structure for your day, you paradoxically create more freedom. You finish your work on time, you produce higher quality results, and you end the day feeling accomplished, not just busy. You have a plan, a blueprint. You know what you're supposed to be doing at any given moment, which completely eliminates that draining feeling of, what should I work on next? This single shift, from managing a to-do list to living off a time-block calendar, is the foundation. It's the concrete slab on which all other focus techniques are built. But once you've laid this foundation, how do you make sure the structure you build on top of it is sound? How do you optimize your physical and digital environments to make focus the path of least resistance? That means tackling the two biggest enemies of deep work head-on: your digital notifications and your physical workspace. And that's exactly where we're going next. Let's start with the device that's probably within 3 feet of you right now. Your smartphone. It's not just a phone, it's a slot machine. And every notification, every buzz, every little red circle is another pull of the lever. The tech companies who design these apps know this. They've hired neuroscientists and behavioral psychologists to make their products as addictive as possible. The dings, the pings, the infinite scroll. It's all engineered to hijack your brain's reward system, feeding you tiny, unpredictable hits of dopamine that keep you coming back for more. This isn't a failure of your willpower. You are in a cage match against 1,000 engineers on the other side of the screen whose job is to get you to look at that screen. So how do you win? You don't fight them on their terms. You change the rules of the game. Tonight, or right after this video, I want you to perform what I call a notification purge. It's radical, it might feel uncomfortable for a day, but it will fundamentally change your relationship with technology. Go into your phone settings. Go to notifications. Now scroll through every single app and ask one question. Does this notification serve my goals, or does it serve the app's goals? Your social media apps? Turn them off. All of them. The likes, the comments, the friend requests, they are pure, uncut distraction. You can check them later on your own terms. News alerts? Off. The world will still be there in an hour, but your train of thought won't be. Email notifications on your phone? Turn them off. This is a big one. Your phone is not your office. The pop-up banner, the sound, the little red badge counting unread messages, disable all of it. Your job is not to be a 24/7 email response machine. Your job is to produce valuable work. Be ruthless. The only notifications that should survive this purge are ones from actual human beings trying to reach you directly and urgently. Phone calls, text messages from your contacts, maybe calendar alerts 15 minutes before a meeting. That's it. Everything else is noise designed to steal your most valuable asset, your attention. By doing this, you transform your phone from a relentless taskmaster into a passive tool that you control. You decide when to engage. You are no longer at the mercy of the algorithm. Next, let's talk about your work computer. The same principles apply, but the battlefield is different. Here, the enemies are email and workplace chat apps like Slack or Microsoft Teams. These tools are incredible for collaboration, but they have become digital open-plan offices, a constant stream of chatter, questions, and demands. The average knowledge worker checks their email or chat every 6 minutes. Every 6 minutes. Every time you do that, you trigger what psychologists call context switching. Your brain has to disengage from your primary task, load the context of the new message, process it, and then attempt to reload the context of your original task. This process isn't seamless. It's incredibly expensive, cognitively speaking. A study from the University of California, Irvine, found that it can take over 23 minutes to get back to your original level of focus after just one interruption. Do the math. If you're checking messages every 6 minutes, you are living in a permanent state of fractured attention. You never actually reach deep focus. The solution is a technique called batching. It's simple, but it's a game changer. Instead of letting communications control your day, you control them. You schedule specific, short blocks of time to deal with them. For example, you might decide to check and respond to all your emails and Slack messages 3 times a day. Once at 9 a.m., once at noon, and once at 4 p.m. Outside of those blocks, you close the tabs. You quit the applications. You turn off the desktop notifications. You are offline. Now you might be thinking, my boss would never go for that. My team needs me to be responsive. This is a legitimate fear, but it's easily solved with communication. You need to set expectations. Put a line in your email signature that says, to protect my focus for deep work, I check and respond to emails at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. If your matter is urgent, please call me. In Slack or Teams, set a status. Heads down on the Q3 report until 2 p.m. We'll respond to messages then. You'll be shocked at how well people respond. You're not saying you're unavailable. You're saying you're prioritizing important work. You're signaling that you are a serious professional, not a digital pinball bouncing from one notification to the next. Okay, you've silenced the digital noise. You've built a fortress around your attention. But what about the world you can actually see and touch? Your physical workspace. Your brain is an association machine. It constantly scans your environment for cues about what it should be doing. If your desk is a chaotic landscape of old coffee mugs, stacks of unrelated papers, and last week's project notes, what cue is it sending? It's sending a signal of overwhelm. It's a visual to-do list of a dozen different unfinished tasks, each one pulling a tiny thread of your cognitive resources. This is the physical manifestation of attention residue. The most powerful habit you can build to combat this is what I call the end-of-day shutdown. Takes 5 minutes, but it pays you back with an hour of focus the next morning. Before you log off for the day, you reset your workspace to a neutral state. You take that stack of papers and file it, trash it, or put it in a designated to-process tray. You put your pens back in their holder. You wipe down the surface. You close all your notebooks. The goal is to leave a clean, clear, and inviting space. When you arrive the next morning, your brain isn't greeted with the baggage of yesterday. It's greeted with a blank canvas, ready for you to create your most important work for that day. You're not just cleaning your desk. You're clearing your mind for tomorrow. Now, let's get tactical about your desk setup. Think like a surgeon. A surgeon doesn't have their lunch, their car keys, and a magazine sitting on the operating table. They have only the exact tools they need for the procedure, laid out and ready. Your desk should be the same. Whatever your single most important task is for a given block of time, your desk should reflect that. If you're writing a proposal, all you need is your computer. That half-read book? Put it on the shelf. The stack of mail you need to sort? Put it in a drawer. The principle is this: make what's important easy to do, and make what's distracting hard to do. Out of sight is literally out of mind. The more friction you can create between you and a potential distraction, the less likely you are to succumb to it. Finally, we have to address the elephant in the room for so many American workers: the open plan office. It's a minefield of audible distractions, a coworker's loud sales call, a group chatting by the coffee machine, the endless symphony of keyboard clicks. You can't control the people around you, but you can control your own auditory environment. And the single greatest tool for this is a pair of high-quality, noise-canceling headphones. I want you to reframe how you think about this. Headphones aren't a luxury or an antisocial statement. For a knowledge worker in an open office, they are a piece of essential professional equipment, as vital as a carpenter's saw or a chef's knife. They are the door to your private office that your company didn't give you. They create a sound cocoon where you can control the input. What you listen to is up to you. Some people prefer instrumental music, others focus better with white noise or ambient sounds like a coffee shop, and some just want the pure, blessed silence of the noise cancellation itself. But just as importantly, the headphones serve as a powerful visual cue to your colleagues. They are the universal, polite, do not disturb sign. Tells people you are locked in, you are focused, and they should only interrupt you if it's truly important. By decluttering your digital life and architecting your physical space, you're doing something profound. You're creating an environment where focus isn't a struggle. It's the default state. You're making deep work the path of least resistance. You've built the perfect gym for your mind. Now it's time to learn the actual exercises that will build your focus muscle into a powerhouse. Let's start with a story. Meet Sarah. Sarah is a project manager at a mid-sized tech firm in Austin, Texas. She's smart, ambitious, and genuinely great at her job. But by 3 p.m. every day, she feels like her brain has been run through a blender. Her morning starts with a clear plan, a list of 3 critical tasks. But then the digital tide rolls in. A Slack notification from her boss with an urgent request. An email chain with 12 people CC'd, all debating a minor feature change. A calendar invite for a quick sync that pops up 15 minutes before it starts. By the end of the day, she's answered 50 messages, sat in 3 hours of meetings, and put out a dozen small fires. But her 3 critical tasks? They've barely been touched. She feels exhausted, busy, but completely unproductive. She's running on a treadmill, sweating and working hard, but going nowhere. Sarah's story isn't unique. It's the default experience for millions of American workers. We've built the perfect gym for our minds. We've decluttered our desks, silenced our notifications, blocked our time, but we're still standing in the middle of the gym floor, unsure which exercises to do. We have the equipment, but we lack the training plan. These exercises aren't about willpower. Willpower is a finite resource that gets depleted with every no you say to a cookie or every time you force yourself to answer a tedious email. These exercises are about building skill. They are mental push-ups, cognitive deadlifts, and attention span sprints that, over time, make focus the easy choice, not the hard one. The first and perhaps most famous exercise is the Pomodoro technique. But I want you to stop thinking of it as just a timer. Think of it as high-intensity interval training for your brain. In fitness, HIIT is powerful because it trains your body to recover quickly and perform at a high level in short bursts. The Pomodoro technique does the same for your focus. The classic formula is simple: 25 minutes of pure, uninterrupted, single-task focus, followed by a 5-minute break. After 4 of these sprints, you take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. The magic isn't in the 25 minutes. The magic is in the promise you make to your brain. For these 25 minutes, you are a fortress. You are not checking email. You are not glancing at your phone. You are not opening a new browser tab to quickly look something up. You are doing one thing and one thing only. When your brain throws a distracting thought at you, "Oh, I need to email Kevin back," you don't suppress it. You acknowledge it, write it down on a notepad next to you, and immediately return to the task. You're telling your brain, "I hear you, but not right now. We have an appointment with this task." The 5-minute break is just as crucial. And here's where most people fail. The break is not for checking your email or scrolling through Instagram. That's like finishing a sprint and immediately starting to jog. You're not recovering. The break must be a genuine mental reset. Stand up, stretch, get a glass of water, look out a window, let your mind wander. This contrast between intense focus and deliberate unfocus is what builds the muscle. You're teaching your brain the clear distinction between on and off. Over time, just the sound of that timer starting will trigger a state of focus like a starting gun for a sprinter. The second exercise is radically countercultural. It's the practice of intentional boredom. Our modern work environment is a battlefield of stimulation. We are terrified of being bored. The second a meeting ends, we pull out our phones. While we wait for a big file to download, we open Twitter. We've trained our brains to expect a constant fire hose of novel information, a non-stop dopamine drip. This shatters our ability to sustain attention on anything that isn't immediately gratifying or new, like, for instance, a complex spreadsheet or a dense report. Intentional boredom is the antidote. It's the attention reset. It's deliberately choosing understimulation for short periods. This isn't about meditating for an hour. It's about finding the little gaps in your day and doing nothing. When you're waiting for the office coffee machine to brew, don't look at your phone. Just watch the coffee brew. Look at the steam. Listen to the sound. When you're walking from your desk to the conference room, don't check your notifications. Look at the patterns on the carpet. Notice the light coming through the windows. This feels weird at first. Your brain will scream for a distraction. It will feel uncomfortable, even wasteful. But you are performing a critical neurological function. You are allowing your prefrontal cortex to recharge. You're recalibrating your dopamine receptors, making it so that normal, non-hyperstimulating work feels interesting again. Think of it like letting your eyes adjust to a dark room. First, you can't see anything. But if you wait patiently, the world slowly comes into focus. Intentional boredom allows your mind to do the same. It's the mental equivalent of a sensory deprivation tank, a cool-down stretch that restores your capacity for deep thought. Our third exercise is a form of cognitive weightlifting. I call it the single-tab mandate. How many browser tabs do you have open right now? 5, 10, 20? Each one of those tabs represents a cognitive open loop. It's an unfinished thought, a pending task, a potential distraction. Even if you're not looking at them, their very existence is a drain on your mental RAM. Your brain knows they're there, and it creates a low-level hum of anxiety and divided attention. The single-tab mandate is a brutal but effective workout. For your most important work block of the day, you are only allowed to have one tab open. The tab directly related to the task at hand. If you're writing a report in Google Docs, that's the only tab you have open. If you need to look something up, you open a new tab, find the information, take what you need, and close it immediately. You do not leave it open just in case. This exercise is incredibly difficult at first. It's like trying to lift a heavy weight. The urge to open another tab to quickly check on something else will feel overwhelming. But every time you resist that urge, you are doing a mental rep. You are strengthening your executive function, the part of your brain responsible for impulse control and task management. The cost of context switching is real, and it is massive. Every time you flick between tabs, you force your brain to unload the context of the first task and load the context of the second. This process isn't instant. It takes time and burns precious mental energy. The single-tab mandate eliminates this cost entirely. It forces a monolithic focus that is impossible when you're juggling a dozen digital possibilities. Finally, the fourth exercise is the shutdown ritual. For many in the US, especially with the rise of remote work, the workday doesn't end, just fades away. We trail off, leaving our laptops open, our work emails still pinging on our phones. This always-on state means our brains never get a clear signal to disengage and recover, leading to chronic stress and burnout. Your focus tomorrow depends on how well you recover today. A shutdown ritual is a clear, consistent, and non-negotiable sequence of actions you perform at the end of each workday to signal that work is over. It's the final cool down. It might look something like this. At 5:30 p.m., you spend 10 minutes reviewing your to-do list, tidying up any loose ends, and planning your top 3 priorities for tomorrow. Then, you close every single application and browser tab on your computer one by one. You organize your physical desk. Finally, you say a specific phrase out loud, something as simple as "shutdown complete." And then you walk away. You do not check email on your phone after this point. This ritual creates a powerful psychological boundary. The physical acts of closing tabs and tidying your desk, combined with the verbal declaration, create a clean break. It's a clear signal to your subconscious that the professional part of your day is done. It allows your mind to stop churning on work-related problems and enter a state of rest and recovery, which is absolutely essential for high-level cognitive performance the next day. It's the mental equivalent of turning off the lights and locking the door to the gym. These 4 exercises, the focus sprint, the attention reset, cognitive weightlifting, and the mental cooldown, are not quick fixes. They are a training regimen. They will feel awkward and difficult at first, just like your first day at the gym. But with consistency, you are fundamentally rewiring your brain. You are building a mind that can withstand the storm of modern distractions. You've trained your mind to be a fortress. But even the strongest fortress can be overwhelmed by a constant siege. In the next part, we're going to learn how to control the single biggest threat to your focus: the endless barrage of meetings, emails, and quick questions from your coworkers. We're going to learn the art of saying no without getting fired. Let's talk about the myth of the open door policy. We're told it fosters collaboration, transparency, and teamwork. But in reality, for most of us, the open door policy has become a revolving door of interruptions. It's the constant Slack notifications, the endless email chains marked urgent, the back-to-back-to-back meetings that could have been an email, and the coworker who just needs 2 minutes of your time, which, as we all know, is never ever 2 minutes. This isn't collaboration. This is chaos. This is the collaboration tax. A hidden cost you pay every single time your focus is shattered. A University of California Irvine study found that it takes, on average, over 23 minutes to get back on track after a single interruption. 23 minutes. If you get interrupted just 3 times in a morning, you've lost over an hour of productive time. Not to your own procrastination, but to the demands of others. You're not working. You're just managing a fire hose of incoming requests. So, how do we reclaim our time and our focus? How do we build a fortress around our attention without building walls between ourselves and our colleagues? It starts by understanding a fundamental truth. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Being constantly available does not make you a better employee. It makes you a less effective one. Your most valuable contribution to your company is not your immediate response time to an email. It's your ability to think deeply, solve complex problems, and produce high-quality work. And you simply cannot do that in a state of constant distraction. The first beast we have to tame is the meeting monster. In many American companies, the calendar is a battlefield, and we're all losing. The default solution to any problem is, let's schedule a meeting. We need to change the default. Your new mantra is this: a meeting is the last resort, not a first step. To do this, you need a system. Let's call it the 3 Ds: decline, delegate, or defer. First, decline. This one feels terrifying, I know. Declining a meeting, especially from someone senior, feels like career suicide. But it's all in the framing. You are not saying, I don't want to come to your meeting. You are saying, I want to protect my time to deliver on the priorities we've already agreed upon. You need a polite, professional script. Someone invites you to a 1-hour meeting with a vague title like Project Sync. You respond with something like this: thank you so much for the invitation. To make the best use of everyone's time, could you please share the specific agenda and the desired outcome for this meeting? I'm currently in a deep work block focusing on the quarterly report, and I want to ensure I can provide the most value. 9 times out of 10, one of 2 things will happen. The organizer will realize they don't have a clear agenda and cancel the meeting, or they'll send you the agenda, and you'll realize your presence isn't actually required for the full hour. This allows you to say, this is great, thank you. It looks like my input is only needed for item 3. I'll plan on joining for that 10-minute portion, and I'm happy to catch up on the notes for the rest. You've just reclaimed 50 minutes of your life without offending anyone. You've positioned yourself as someone who values time, both yours and theirs. Second, delegate. If you're a manager, this is crucial. Are you really the only person who can attend? Empower your team. If you're not a manager, can you suggest someone else whose expertise is a better fit? Frame it as a positive. Thanks for the invite. Based on the agenda, I think Sarah from my team would actually be the best person to speak to these points, as she's leading that part of the project. I've asked her to attend in my place to ensure you get the best information directly. Third, defer. This is for the quick questions that turn into meetings. Can we hop on a quick call to discuss this? Your defense is to push it to an asynchronous format. That's a great question. I'm in the middle of a focus block right now. Could you please outline the key points in an email or a shared document? That way, I can give it my full focused attention when I'm done and provide a more thoughtful response. You're not saying no. You're saying yes, and yes, I will help you, and I will do it in a way that respects both my work and yours. Once you start managing your calendar, you have to conquer the inbox. Email and instant messaging are the digital equivalent of that tap on the shoulder. Every notification is a tiny hit of dopamine and a tiny cut to your focus. The solution is simple but not easy. Stop checking it constantly. This is called batching. Instead of letting your inbox dictate your day, you dictate when you deal with your inbox. Schedule 2 or 3 specific times per day to check and process your email. Maybe 9 a.m., 12 p.m., and 4 p.m. That's it. For the rest of the day, turn off the notifications. Close the tab. Let it go. The fear, of course, is that you'll miss something urgent. But let's be honest. How many truly life or death, the building is on fire emails have you ever received? Almost none. The vast majority of urgent emails are just someone else's poor planning. By batching your communication, you are creating large, uninterrupted blocks of time for what Cal Newport calls deep work. the kind of cognitively demanding work that actually creates new value. You can't write a brilliant proposal, code a complex feature, or develop a groundbreaking marketing strategy in 6-minute increments between checking Slack. You need hours, not minutes. Creating those hours is your responsibility. Finally, we have to handle the in-person interruptions, the quick questions. This is where the art of saying no without actually saying no becomes your superpower. The strategy here is to establish office hours. You are not a 24/7 help desk. You can communicate this to your team proactively. Hey team, to improve my focus and deliver better work on our key projects, I'm going to be dedicating 9 to 11 a.m. every morning to deep, uninterrupted work. I'll have headphones on, which is my signal that I'm in the zone. I'll be fully available for any questions, brainstorming, or collaboration after 11. When someone inevitably forgets and approaches you during that time, you have your gentle script ready. You take off your headphones, make eye contact, and say with a smile, "Hey John, great to see you. I'm right in the middle of a deep focus session for the next hour. Can your question wait until 11? I want to make sure I can give you my full attention." You're not rejecting the person. You're just rescheduling the interruption. You are training the people around you how to work with you effectively. All of this can feel scary. It feels like you're not being a team player. But you must reframe this in your own mind and in how you communicate it to others. This is not about being unavailable. This is about being more available for the work that truly matters. It's about shifting the culture from one that rewards performative busyness to one that rewards actual, tangible results. When you start delivering higher quality work, finishing projects ahead of schedule, and providing more thoughtful, well-reasoned input because you've had time to actually think, your value to the organization skyrockets. Your boss won't see you as lazy. They'll see you as one of the most effective people on the team. You are building a fortress not to keep people out, but to protect the most valuable resource your company has: your focused, creative, problem-solving mind. You've learned how to defend against the external invaders, the meetings, the emails, the interruptions. But what happens when you've built the perfect fortress of focus, silenced the meetings, tamed your inbox, and the biggest distraction is still you? What happens when the enemy isn't outside the gates, but is already inside your own head? In the next part, we're going to wage war on the enemy within your own wandering mind. This is the fundamental battle of the 21st century knowledge worker. Not against a deadline, not against a competitor, but against the constant seductive pull of our own thoughts. So how do we win a war that's being fought entirely between our own ears? First, we need to understand the battlefield. Your brain isn't broken. It's not failing you. In fact, when your mind wanders, it's doing exactly what it was designed to do. Neuroscientists have a name for this state: the default mode network, or DMN. Think of it as your brain's screensaver. When you're not actively focused on a specific demanding task, the DMN kicks in. It's the part of your brain that daydreams, that worries about the future, that replays that awkward conversation from yesterday. It's what connects your past experiences to your future goals. It's in many ways the seat of your identity. The problem is, in the modern American workplace, this screensaver is turning on in the middle of our most important presentations. It's activating while we're trying to decipher a critical spreadsheet. Why? Because so much of our work is, well, not that engaging. It's a series of low to medium intensity tasks, punctuated by constant interruptions. This environment is the perfect breeding ground for an overactive default mode network. Your brain, starved for genuine stimulation or grappling with low-level anxiety about that upcoming performance review, defaults to its own internal programming. It would rather worry about your 401k or plan your weekend trip than spend another second formatting a PowerPoint slide. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that your brain is bored and looking for something more interesting to do. So, fighting it head-on is a losing battle. Yelling at yourself to just focus is like yelling at the tide to stop coming in. It's exhausting and it doesn't work. Instead of fighting, we need to learn how to train our attention. We need to build the mental equivalent of a bicep. The first exercise in this mental gym is developing something called meta-awareness. That's a fancy term for a simple, yet profoundly powerful idea. The ability to notice what you're thinking about, as you're thinking about it, without judgment. Most of us are completely fused with our thoughts. A thought pops into your head. Did I remember to pay the electric bill? And suddenly you're not working anymore. You are that thought. You're mentally logging into your bank account, checking the date, feeling a spike of anxiety. You've been hijacked. Meta-awareness is the act of creating a tiny sliver of space between you, the observer, and the thought itself. Instead of becoming the thought, you simply notice it. Imagine you're sitting on the side of a busy highway. Each car is a thought. A red sports car zips by. That's your anxiety about the deadline. A slow-moving truck rumbles past. That's you replaying a comment your boss made. Your job isn't to jump into the traffic and try to stop the cars. Your job is just to sit on the grass and watch them go by. Oh look, there's the electric bill thought. That's it. You don't get angry at the thought. You don't criticize yourself for having it. You just notice it. This simple act of noticing without judgment is revolutionary. It robs the distraction of its power. Because the moment you notice you're not focused on your work, you've already taken the first step back. This leads to a simple 3-step process you can use 100 times a day. Notice, acknowledge, redirect. Step 1. Notice. You're supposed to be writing an email, but you realize you've spent the last 5 minutes mentally rearranging the furniture in your living room. That's the moment of meta-awareness. You've woken up. Step 2. Acknowledge. This is the crucial, non-judgmental part. Instead of saying, "Ugh, I'm so unfocused, what is wrong with me?" you simply say to yourself, "Okay, thinking about furniture." You label the thought calmly and neutrally, as if you were a scientist observing a data point. Step 3. Redirect. Gently, and I mean gently, guide your attention back to the task at hand. Back to the email. You don't force it. You don't slam your mind back into place. You just kindly escort it back to where you want it to be. This will feel weird at first. You'll do it, and 30 seconds later, your mind will have wandered off again. And that's fine. That's the workout. Every time you notice your mind has strayed and you gently bring it back, you are doing one repetition. You are strengthening your attentional muscle. The goal isn't to have a perfectly clear, empty mind. The goal is to get better and faster at noticing when you've drifted and guiding yourself back. To make this even more effective, you need a cognitive anchor. This is a neutral point of focus you can always return to. For thousands of years, the most effective anchor has been the breath. Why? Because it's always with you, it's always happening in the present moment, and it has a direct physiological effect on your nervous system. When you feel your mind spiraling, or just drifting into that DMN screensaver, you can use your breath as an anchor to pull you back to the here and now. Take 1 second. Feel the physical sensation of the air entering your nostrils. Feel your chest or abdomen rise and fall. That's it. That's the anchor. You're not trying to breathe in a special way. You're just observing the physical reality of your own breathing. So the full process looks like this. You're on a video call, and you notice your mind is drifting to what you need to buy at the grocery store. 1. Notice. I'm not listening. 2. Acknowledge. Grocery list. 3. Redirect. You gently bring your attention back to the physical sensation of your breath for a single cycle in and out. And then, from that anchored present moment, you re-engage with what the person on the screen is saying. This entire cycle can take less than 3 seconds, and it's completely invisible to everyone else. It is your secret weapon for taming the enemy within. Now, here's a counterintuitive strategy that might be the most powerful of all. Instead of fighting your brain's need to wander all day long, what if you scheduled it? What if you gave your default mode network a designated time to run wild? Think about it. If you have a dog with a ton of energy, you don't just chain it up all day and expect it to behave. You take it to the park and let it run. You need to do the same thing for your mind. Schedule 2 or 3 DMN breaks throughout your day. These are 5 to 10 minute blocks where your only job is to let your mind go wherever it wants. Stare out the window. Put on some instrumental music. Let yourself daydream, worry, plan, and reminisce. Let the screensaver run on purpose. By giving your brain these intentional, unstructured breaks, you satisfy its natural urge to wander. This makes it far easier to demand focus from it when it's time to do deep work. You're no longer fighting a constant, simmering battle. You've created a pact with your brain. Give me 45 minutes of focused attention on this report, and I'll give you 10 minutes to think about whatever you want afterwards. You're replacing a chaotic, all-day internal struggle with a structured, disciplined approach to both focus and intentional mind wandering. So we're not waging a war of annihilation against our wandering minds. We're launching a campaign of diplomacy and training. We develop meta-awareness to notice when our mind has strayed. We use a cognitive anchor, like the breath, to gently redirect it. And we strategically schedule breaks to let our minds wander freely, so they don't have to rebel when we need them to be still. This is how you transform the enemy within into a powerful, focused ally. But now, having trained that internal ally, you must build it a fortress. Because the modern American workplace is a battlefield. and your attention is the territory everyone is trying to conquer. Your phone, your email, your chat apps, even the colleague who just wants to ask a quick question. They are all, unintentionally or not, laying siege to your focus. Winning this battle isn't about having more willpower. It's about superior architecture. It's about designing an environment, both digital and physical, that defends your focus so you don't have to. Let's start with the most insidious enemy, the digital environment. Your computer and your phone are not neutral tools. They have been meticulously engineered by thousands of the world's smartest people to do one thing: hijack your attention. Every notification, every red bubble, every infinite scroll is a weapon deployed against your concentration. So we fight back not with force but with strategy. Your first mission is to execute a notification audit. Tonight, I want you to go through every single application on your phone and your computer and ask one brutal question for each one. Does this notification serve my agenda, or the agenda of the company that sent it? Be ruthless. Is that news alert about a celebrity's new haircut helping you finish that quarterly report? Is that flash sale notification from a clothing brand helping you solve a complex problem for your client? Is that social media alert telling you someone you barely know liked a photo helping you achieve your life's ambitions? The answer is almost always no. So turn them off. All of them. Not on silent, not on vibrate. Off. The only exception should be for the absolute mission critical. I will be fired if I miss this type of alerts. Maybe a direct call from your boss, or a calendar reminder for a meeting that starts in 5 minutes. Everything else goes. This will feel uncomfortable at first. You'll experience a phantom vibration syndrome, a digital FOMO, fear of missing out. But within 48 hours, something miraculous will happen. A sense of calm will descend. You will realize you weren't missing anything important. You were just being interrupted by noise, and now, for the first time in years, you can hear yourself think. Next, you declare an apocalypse on your phone's home screen. Your home screen is prime real estate. It should be a launchpad for your productivity, not a minefield of distractions. Remove every single app that is not a tool. Social media, news apps, games, they don't belong there. Move them into a folder on the very last page of your phone, the one you have to swipe multiple times to get to. Better yet, delete them entirely and just use the web browser version when you absolutely need to. The simple act of adding friction, of making it take 3 or 4 extra steps to open that app, is often enough to break the subconscious, compulsive loop of unlock, swipe, tap that kills countless hours of our lives. Your phone becomes a tool again, not a slot machine in your pocket. The final piece of your digital fortress is mastering your communication channels. Email and instant messaging are the lifeblood of the modern office, but they are also the biggest destroyers of deep work. The average professional checks their email over 70 times a day. Every time you do, you're not just losing the 30 seconds it takes to read the message. You're incurring what psychologists call attention residue. A piece of your brain stays stuck on that last email, and it can take over 20 minutes to regain your full concentration on the original task. The solution is batching. You must transform from being a reactive firefighter, dousing every email spark as it appears, to being a disciplined postal worker. Think about it. The mail carrier doesn't sprint to your house every time a single letter arrives for you. That would be insane. They collect it all, batch it, and deliver it once a day. You need to treat your digital mail the same way. Schedule 2 or 3 specific times per day to process your communications. For example, 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Outside of those blocks, your email client is closed. Your Slack or Teams app is quit. You are unreachable. This is non-negotiable. You communicate this new boundary to your team. To maximize my focus on our key projects, I'll be checking and responding to messages at 11 and 4. If something is a true emergency, please call me. You'll be astonished. 99% of things are not emergencies. By creating these communication-free zones in your day, you are creating the vast, uninterrupted stretches of time necessary for high-value, deep work. With your digital world secured, we turn to the physical. Your workspace is not just a desk. It's the cockpit of your productivity. And a cluttered cockpit leads to a crash. There's a concept called the clean slate principle. It's based on the simple fact that your brain processes every object in your field of vision. Every stray paper, every unused coffee mug, every piece of clutter is a tiny little data point that your brain has to spend a sliver of energy on, pulling your focus away from what matters. The rule is this: the only things on your desk should be the things you need for the immediate task at hand, nothing else. When you sit down to write a report, all you should see is your computer, a notepad, and a pen. Everything else is in a drawer on a shelf out of sight. This creates a powerful psychological cue. It tells your brain, this is the mission. There are no other options. There is only the task in front of us. A clean space cultivates a clear mind. But what about the most unpredictable element of the physical office? Other people. In the age of open-plan offices, a well-meaning colleague can be as disruptive as a fire alarm. To defend against this, you must create a socially acceptable, do not disturb signal. This isn't about being rude, it's about being clear. The most universally understood signal is a pair of large, noise-canceling headphones. When the headphones are on, the world knows you are in the zone. It becomes a shield. You can even codify this with your team. A simple "Hey everyone, just so you know, when I have my headphones on, it means I'm trying to hit a deadline. If you need me, just shoot me a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I surface." This sets a clear boundary, respects your colleagues' needs, and protects your most valuable asset, your uninterrupted time. Finally, you must become the master of your auditory environment. You must soundscape your focus. For some, pure silence is the goal, and noise-canceling headphones are enough. But for many, especially in a bustling office, silence is impossible. The key is to replace distracting, unpredictable noise with consistent, predictable sound. This is where tools like white noise generators, ambient sound apps, or specific types of music come in. The science points to instrumental music being far superior for concentration. Things like classical, cinematic scores, or the ever-popular lo-fi hip-hop beats. Why? Because lyrics engage the language processing centers of your brain. Your mind tries to follow the story in the song, which directly competes with the narrative you're trying to build in your work. By choosing non-lyrical, consistent background audio, you can effectively drown out the distracting chatter of the office without introducing a new distraction. You create a personal bubble of sound, a consistent audio environment that tells your brain it's time to focus. By deliberately architecting your digital and physical worlds, you shift from a state of constant defense to a state of protected performance. You stop relying on the finite, exhaustible resource of willpower to fight off a million tiny distractions, and instead you build a fortress where focus is the default state. You've tamed your inner world, and now you've secured your outer world. But there's one more crucial domain we have to conquer. It's the very foundation upon which all mental performance is built. It's not your mind, and it's not your desk. It's your body. Because the sharpest mind in the world is useless if it's running on a depleted battery. Think of your brain as the most advanced, power-hungry supercomputer on the planet. And your body? It's the power plant. If that plant is running on dirty coal and has constant brownouts, it doesn't matter how sophisticated the computer is. The output will be garbage. You can have the best productivity software, the most organized calendar, and the quietest office in the world, but if the power plant is failing, you will fail. So let's stop treating our bodies like an afterthought and start treating them like the mission-critical hardware they are. We're going to rebuild your power plant, starting with the most misunderstood, disrespected, and criminally underrated performance-enhancing activity known to man: sleep. In the grind-obsessed culture of the American workplace, sleep is often seen as a liability, a necessary evil, corner to be cut. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. It's meant to signal dedication, but what it actually signals is cognitive suicide. When you sleep, your brain isn't just off. It's running the most important maintenance cycle of the day. A specialized system, the glymphatic system, kicks into high gear, acting like a janitorial crew, flushing out metabolic waste that builds up during the day. One of these waste products is beta amyloid, the same plaque famously associated with Alzheimer's disease. Pulling an all-nighter to finish a presentation is, on a neurological level, like telling the janitors to go home while garbage piles up in every single office. But it's not just cleaning. During deep sleep, your brain consolidates memories, shifting important information from short-term, fragile storage to long-term, stable storage. It's the save function for everything you learned that day. Without it, your learning is temporary. You might cram for the big meeting, but you won't retain the information. It's also when your brain processes emotions. A lack of sleep makes your amygdala, the emotional center of your brain, hyperreactive. This is why after a bad night's sleep, a slightly critical email from your boss feels like a declaration of war. You lose your emotional regulation, your ability to see perspective, and your capacity to collaborate effectively. So how do we fix this? It's not about just getting more sleep. It's about getting smarter sleep. First, consistency is your superpower. Your body operates on a circadian rhythm, an internal clock. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, yes, even on weekends, stabilizes this rhythm like nothing else. It trains your body to know when to release melatonin to make you sleepy and cortisol to wake you up. Second, create a shutdown sequence. You can't expect to go from staring at a glowing screen firing off emails to deep, restorative sleep in 5 minutes. An hour before bed, the work is done. The phone is off. The screens are dark. Dim the lights in your house. This signals to your brain that it's time to start powering down. Read a physical book. Do some light stretching. Meditate. Create a buffer between the chaos of the day and the sanctuary of sleep. And that's the third key. Your bedroom must be a sanctuary dedicated to sleep. It must be cool, dark, and quiet. Your bed is not an extension of your office. It's not a place to scroll through social media. If you train your brain to associate your bed with work and anxiety, it will never be a place of rest. Once your nightly reboot is dialed in, we have to look at the fuel you're putting into the system during the day. Nutrition. We live in a country where it's easier and cheaper to get 1,000 calories of focus-destroying garbage than it is to get a fresh salad. We pour sugary coffee drinks into our system for a quick jolt, grab a pastry for breakfast, and then wonder why we crash and burn at 2 p.m., unable to string a coherent thought together. This isn't a moral failing. It's a chemical reality. When you eat a high-sugar, high-processed carb meal, your blood sugar spikes dramatically. Your brain loves this for about 30 minutes. You feel a rush of energy, but then comes the crash. Your body releases a flood of insulin to deal with the sugar, and your blood glucose plummets, taking your energy, your mood, and your focus down with it. This is the biological cause of the dreaded afternoon slump. You're not lazy. You're just on a glucose roller coaster. The key to sustained focus is stable energy. This means building your meals around 3 things: protein, healthy fats, and fiber. These digest slowly, providing a steady release of energy over hours, not minutes. Think salmon with quinoa and broccoli, not a cheeseburger and fries. Think a handful of almonds, not a candy bar. And let's talk about specific brain-boosting foods. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fatty fish like salmon, walnuts, and flax seeds, are literally the building blocks of your brain cells. They are critical for neuronal communication. Blueberries are packed with antioxidants that protect the brain from stress and can improve memory. Even dark chocolate, in moderation, contains flavonoids and a little caffeine that can boost blood flow to the brain. And the simplest, most powerful cognitive enhancer of all? Water. Your brain is about 75% water. Even mild dehydration can cause brain fog, memory impairment, and fatigue. Keep a water bottle on your desk at all times. Make drinking it as automatic as breathing. You wouldn't run a supercomputer without coolant, so don't run your brain while it's dehydrated. Finally, let's address the elephant in every American office. We don't move. We are knowledge workers, but we operate from bodies that evolved over millennia to hunt, gather, and run. Now we sit slumped in ergonomic chairs for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. This sedentary lifestyle is a cognitive catastrophe. When you sit for long periods, blood flow stagnates. Less oxygen and fewer nutrients reach your brain, and you feel sluggish and unfocused. But when you move, everything changes. Even a short, brisk walk does 3 incredible things for your brain. First, it immediately increases blood flow, delivering a fresh shot of oxygen and glucose that can clear brain fog in minutes. Second, it triggers the release of a cocktail of powerful neurotransmitters, including dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. These are the very same chemicals that improve mood, motivation, and focus. Exercise is, quite literally, a natural form of Ritalin. Third, and perhaps most powerfully, movement stimulates the production of a protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. Neuroscientists call BDNF miracle grow for the brain. It helps your brain grow new neurons, strengthen existing ones, and protect them from stress. A sedentary life is a low BDNF life. An active life is a high BDNF life. You don't need to train for a marathon to get these benefits. The key is to break up your sedentary time with microdoses of movement. This is the secret genius of the Pomodoro technique. That 5-minute break isn't for checking your phone. It's for standing up, stretching, doing 20 squats by your desk, walking up a flight of stairs. Every hour on the hour, get up and move for just 2 to 5 minutes. It's a physical and mental reset button. Suggest walking meetings. Instead of huddling in a stuffy conference room, take the conversation outside. You'll find ideas flow more freely and engagement skyrockets. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Park at the far end of the parking lot. Integrate movement so seamlessly into your day that it becomes an unconscious habit. Sleep, nutrition, and movement. These are not soft wellness platitudes. They are the bedrock, the non-negotiable pillars of elite cognitive function. They are the levers you pull to ensure your supercomputer has the power it needs to perform at its peak. We've now fortified your physical foundation, we've engineered your external environment, and we've built defenses against digital distraction. We have all the pieces, but there's one final crucial step. How do you integrate all of this into a cohesive, automatic system that runs on autopilot? How do you transform these tactics from a checklist you have to remember into a deep, ingrained identity? The answer isn't another productivity hack. It's not a new app or a different planner. The answer is a fundamental shift in how you see yourself. You stop trying to focus and you start being a focused person. This is the secret of identity-based habits. A person trying to eat healthy struggles with every decision. A person who is a healthy eater simply asks, "What would a healthy person do?" And the choice becomes obvious. So, how do you become a focused person? You don't just declare it. You prove it to yourself with small, undeniable wins. You cast votes for your new identity. And we're going to start with the most powerful principle for habit formation. The 2-minute rule. Whatever new habit you want to build from our toolkit, scale it down until it takes less than 2 minutes to do. You want to start time blocking? Your new habit isn't time block my entire week. Your new habit is open my calendar and block out 2 minutes from my first task. You want to start using the Pomodoro technique? Your new habit isn't do 4 hours of deep work. It's set a timer for 2 minutes and work on one thing without distraction. Why 2 minutes? Because you can't say no to 2 minutes. It's so small, so laughably easy that the resistance to starting evaporates. The goal isn't to get work done in those 2 minutes. The goal is to master the art of showing up. Every time you do it, you cast a vote. I am the kind of person who plans my day. I am the kind of person who works without distraction. You're not just starting a task. You're starting to build the identity of a focused professional. Once you've mastered the art of starting, you link these new habits to your existing routines. This is called habit stacking. Your brain already has thousands of neural pathways for your current daily actions. We're just going to hijack them. Instead of relying on willpower or a reminder, you let one habit flow directly into the next. The formula is simple. After current habit, I will new 2-minute habit. For example, after I pour my first cup of coffee, I will open my journal and write down my one most important task for the day. The coffee is the trigger. The planning is the new routine. Or, after I finish my lunch, I will put my phone in a drawer and set a Pomodoro timer. The end of lunch triggers the deep work session. By chaining these tiny actions to establish behaviors, you remove the decision-making process. It becomes automatic. It's just what you do after you pour your coffee. It's just what you do after lunch. This is how you build the scaffolding of an automated system. Now let's put it all together into the 2 most important routines you will ever implement for your focus. The morning launch sequence and the evening shutdown ritual. Think of yourself as a pilot. You wouldn't just jump in the cockpit and take off. You run a pre-flight checklist. And you wouldn't just land the plane and walk away. You run a post-flight procedure to secure the aircraft. Your workday is the flight. It deserves the same level of intention. Your morning launch sequence is your pre-flight checklist. It happens before you check your email, before you look at Slack, before the world can throw its agenda at you. It can be as short as 10 minutes, but it is non-negotiable. First, hydrate. Your brain is dehydrated after sleeping. Give it water before you give it caffeine. Second, define your day. Look at the single most important task you identified the night before. We'll get to that. Don't look at your massive to-do list. Just focus on that one critical domino. Clarify what done looks like for that one task. Third, set your intention. Verbally state, "Today I will make progress on your most important task." This primes your brain. Fourth and finally, launch your first Pomodoro. Set that timer for 25 minutes and begin. You are now flying. You've won the first and most important battle of the day by starting on your own terms, not in reaction to someone else's. Now the bookend, the evening shutdown ritual. This is arguably even more important than the launch sequence. This is what separates professionals from amateurs. At the end of your designated workday, you don't just trail off, answering one last email while thinking about dinner. You execute a clean, deliberate shutdown. First, you process. You look at your to-do list and your calendar. What got done? What didn't? You make a quick, non-judgmental assessment. Second, you migrate. Any unfinished but still important tasks get moved to tomorrow or scheduled for later in the week. This gets them out of your head. You're telling your brain, "Don't worry, I have a plan for this." You can let it go. This is the key to preventing that late-night work anxiety. Third, and this is the most critical step, you identify your single most important task for tomorrow. Not 3 tasks. 1. The one thing that, if you accomplish it, will make the day a win. You write it down on a physical sticky note and you put it on your closed laptop or your monitor. This is a gift to your future self. Tomorrow morning, you won't have to waste a single ounce of decision-making energy figuring out what to do. The decision is already made. And finally, you close every tab. Every single one. You close your email. You close Slack. And you say a specific phrase out loud. It might sound silly, but it's a powerful psychological trigger. Say, "Shutdown complete." This creates a hard boundary. The workday is over. You've landed the plane. Now you are free to be present for the rest of your life. This system, the 2-minute rule, habit stacking, the launch sequence, and the shutdown ritual, is how you move from theory to practice. It's how you install the identity of a focused person one day at a time. But there's one last element, the one that holds it all together: your environment. You cannot be a focused person in a distracting environment. It's like trying to be a healthy eater while living in a donut shop. It's a battle you will eventually lose. Your environment must become a reflection of your desired identity. Look at your desk right now. Does it belong to a focused, organized professional? Or does it belong to a frantic, overwhelmed person? A clean workspace is a clean mind. Your physical environment is the easiest thing to control. Then, look at your digital environment. Turn off all non-essential notifications on your phone and computer. All of them. The world will not end. If something is truly urgent, someone will call you. A focused person's phone doesn't buzz every 3 minutes. It's a tool they use, not a master they serve. Curate your digital space with the same intention you'd use to curate a museum. Every app, every icon, every bookmark should serve your goals. If it doesn't, it's a weed. Pluck it. Every time you clean your desk, you cast a vote for, "I am an organized person." Every time you silence a notification, you cast a vote for, "I control my attention." Your environment becomes the physical manifestation of your new identity, constantly reminding you of who you are choosing to be. And please hear this. This is not about perfection. It is about progress. There will be days when your launch sequence is messy. There will be days you forget your shutdown ritual. There will be days you get completely derailed by a fire drill at work. It doesn't matter. A focused person isn't someone who never gets distracted. A focused person is someone who notices they're distracted and gets back on track faster than anyone else. Your new identity isn't fragile. It's anti-fragile. Every time you get off track and gently guide yourself back, you strengthen the muscle. You reinforce the identity. The goal isn't an unbroken chain of perfect days. The goal is to simply never miss twice. Had a bad day? Fine. Just make sure you nail your launch sequence tomorrow morning. We started this journey acknowledging a hard truth. The modern American workplace is designed to fracture your attention. It's a constant battle. But now you are no longer an unarmed soldier. You have the strategy of deep work. You have the tactics of time blocking and the Pomodoro technique. You have the defensive shield of a curated environment. And most importantly, you have the system to integrate it all, to forge the identity of a focused, high-impact professional. Your attention is the most valuable currency you own in the 21st century. It is the raw material of your career, your relationships, and your life's work. For too long, we've allowed it to be stolen, fragmented, and sold to the highest bidder. No more. The power to reclaim it has been inside you all along. It's not about finding more willpower. It's about building a better system. It's about casting small votes for a new identity day after day. So my challenge to you is this. Don't try to do everything at once. Pick one thing. Just one. Will you try the 2-minute rule to start your most dreaded task? Will you execute a real shutdown ritual tonight just once? Will you turn off the notifications for just one app? Choose your first small vote. Cast it today. And begin the process of becoming who you were meant to be. Someone who controls their time, commands their focus, and produces work that truly matters.